Have you ever wondered why some doors in your life remain closed, no matter how hard you knock, while others open so effortlessly, as if they were waiting just for you? Why do some prayers take years to be answered, and others are fulfilled in the blink of an eye? The truth is, nothing in your life is random. Every delay, every heartbreak, every blessing, every test is part of a divine pattern, a hidden design that only reveals itself when the time is right. Ibn Arabi, one of the greatest Sufi masters, taught that when you begin to see this hidden wisdom, you realize something extraordinary. Everything in your life is already falling perfectly into place. 1. Delays that save you. We live in a world where everything feels rushed. We want answers now, solutions now, success now, and when things don't go our way immediately, we start to think that Allah has forgotten us. But in truth, every delay is filled with hidden mercy. Imagine you are on a journey, and a sudden roadblock stops you. You may feel frustrated, but what you don't see is that beyond that road, there may have been danger. That delay was not punishment, it was protection. Ibn Arabi reminds us that the human heart often desires things that are not meant for it, while the divine wisdom guides us toward what truly belongs to us. When you are delayed in achieving something you desperately wanted, it may feel like rejection, but in reality, it is redirection. Allah may be delaying you to save you from heartbreak, loss, or a path that would have led you away from Him. Think about the times when you didn't get what you prayed for, only to look back years later and realize, if I had received that, I would not be where I am today. Delays often hold the wisdom that can only be understood in hindsight. They are silent gifts, shaping you for something greater than you imagined. The Sufis teach us to replace frustration with trust. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is Allah protecting me from? What is He preparing me for?" When you shift your view of delays from punishment to protection, you begin to see the unfolding of Allah's plan and realize that sometimes not getting what you want is the greatest blessing of all. 2. Unexpected closed doors. One of the hardest experiences in life is when a door suddenly closes. You were certain about that opportunity, that friendship, that path, and then it ends without warning. In that moment, it feels like rejection, like life is against you. But the wisdom of Sufism teaches us that every closed door is also a hidden opening. What looks like loss is often protection in disguise. Ibn Arabi explains that the human eye sees only the immediate surface, but the divine eye sees the hidden realities. When a door shuts, it is not the end. It is Allah guiding you away from what would harm your soul, even if it looked perfect on the outside. Perhaps that career would have destroyed your peace, that relationship would have broken your heart, or that dream would have taken you far from your true purpose. The closed door is Allah's way of saying, "This is not for you, something better awaits." Think back to times when you were disappointed by what you lost, only to realize later that you were spared. Closed doors are not the absence of Allah's mercy. They are proof of it. They redirect you to places you never imagined, opportunities you never planned, and blessings you never thought possible. When you trust this, rejection no longer feels like failure. It feels like guidance. 3. Inner restlessness that pushes you toward growth. Sometimes life looks fine on the outside. You have stability, people around you, maybe even comfort, yet deep within, you feel unsettled. There is a quiet unease, a whisper in the soul that says, "You were not created to stay here." That restlessness is not emptiness. It is a sign. It is Allah calling you toward growth. Ibn Arabi teaches that the soul is always yearning for its source, for closeness to Allah. When you feel restless in situations that once satisfied you, it means your soul has outgrown its current state. Just like a bird cannot stay in a small cage forever. Your spirit cannot remain confined to a life without depth. That discomfort is not punishment. It is an invitation to rise higher. Many people ignore this restlessness, numbing it with distractions. But the Sufi path encourages us to listen closely. Restlessness pushes you to seek new knowledge, purify your heart, and walk closer to Allah. It urges you to leave behind shallow desires and step into a deeper, more meaningful life. When you embrace this sign, the unease transforms into direction. You realize that discomfort is actually divine motivation, guiding you away from stagnation and toward the journey your soul was always meant to take. 4. People leaving your life. One of the most painful realities of life is losing people you thought would always be by your side. Friends drift away, relationships end, family ties weaken. Sometimes the people you trusted most are the very ones who hurt you the deepest. In those moments, your heart feels broken, and you ask yourself, why would Allah let them leave if they were such an important part of my life? But Sufism teaches us to look at loss, not with despair, but with wisdom. Ibn Arabi explains that the love and attachments we form in this world are reflections of the one true love, Allah Himself. When people leave us, it is often because we are being reminded that no companionship, no relationship, no love in this dunya can ever be permanent. Only Allah remains. Think about it. Every person in your life, no matter how close, is temporary. Your parents, your spouse, your children, your friends, all of them will one day part from you, whether through distance, betrayal, or even death. If our hearts cling to people as though they are eternal, we will always end up shattered. But if we see people as travelers who walk beside us for only part of the journey, we begin to understand that their presence and even their absence is part of Allah's design. When someone leaves, it does not mean you were unworthy. It means their role in your story has ended. Just as a chapter in a book must close so the next can begin, certain people must exit your life so that new growth, new lessons, and new blessings can enter. Ibn Arabi reminds us, the beloved departs only so that the true beloved remains. Every person who leaves creates space for you to turn more deeply toward Allah, the one companion who never abandons you. Think back to a time when you lost someone you loved, maybe a friend, a mentor, or even a partner. At first you felt crushed, but slowly you realized that the loss forced you to grow. Perhaps you became stronger, wiser, or more independent. Perhaps you found a deeper sense of prayer, of turning to Allah for comfort. Perhaps you discovered new people who entered your life with sincerity and kindness. None of that would have happened if the earlier bond had not ended. Sometimes people leave not because they are bad, but because you have outgrown them or they have outgrown you. Allah removes what is no longer serving your spiritual journey. He clears your path of those who distract you, who weigh you down, or who cannot walk with you into the next stage of your destiny. It may hurt, but it is necessary. Like a tree that must shed old leaves to make room for new growth, you too must let go in order to flourish. And sometimes, the people who leave are removed as a form of protection. You may not see the harm they could have brought, but Allah sees what is hidden. He knows the heartbreak, the betrayal, the pain you were being spared. What feels like loss now may actually be mercy disguised as emptiness. One day you will look back and realize that their leaving was a gift. The Sufis teach us to never chase after what Allah has taken away. If someone was written in your destiny, nothing could make them leave. If they were not, nothing could make them stay. So when people walk away, release them with peace. Thank Allah for the time you shared, and trust that He will fill the space with something greater, whether that is new companionship, deeper faith, or simply more of His presence in your heart. Remember this: no one truly leaves you. Their role ends, their chapter closes, but their impact becomes part of your story. And through it all, the one constant is Allah. He is Al-Wadud, the ever-loving, who never departs, never betrays, never abandons. And when you finally realize this, you discover that losing people was never about losing. It was always about returning to the one who can never be lost. So the next time someone leaves your life, do not despair. Do not cling to what is gone. Instead, open your heart to what Allah is teaching you. He is redirecting your love, reminding you of the only bond that truly lasts. And in that realization, you will find peace. Because sometimes losing people is the very thing that helps everything else in your life fall into place. 5. Repeated lessons in life. Have you ever noticed how certain challenges keep returning to you, almost like life is circling you back to the same test? You face the same type of betrayal, the same financial struggle, the same disappointment, or the same personal weakness again and again. At first, you may feel frustrated. Why is this happening to me over and over? Why can't I just move past it? But the truth is, these repeated lessons are not random. They are signs that Allah is still teaching you something your heart has not yet learned. Ibn Arabi, the great Sufi master, teaches that life itself is a school, and every event is a lesson in the curriculum of the soul. Just like a student cannot advance to the next level until they master the basics, you cannot progress spiritually until you understand the wisdom behind your trials. This is why the same type of problem returns. It is a mirror showing you what needs healing, growth, or surrender. Consider a person who keeps entering toxic relationships. Every time they say, "This time will be different," but the pain repeats. Why? Because the real lesson is not about the other person. It is about their own attachment, their own self-worth, their own reliance on people instead of Allah. Until they recognize the root, the same pattern will appear again and again. The cycle is not cruelty, it is mercy. Allah allows repetition not to punish, but to wake us up. The Quran reminds us that Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. This means that if a lesson is repeating, it is within your ability to understand and overcome. Think of it like a teacher who gives extra practice to a student who struggles with a subject. The repetition is not meant to break the student, it is meant to strengthen their understanding. Similarly, Allah allows recurring challenges because He knows you have the potential to rise above them. Sufis often describe these repeated trials as veils, layers that cover the heart and prevent it from seeing truth clearly. Every time a problem repeats, a veil is being lifted, little by little. The pain you feel is not wasted. It is polishing your heart, refining your soul, and bringing you closer to clarity. Ibn Arabi said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you. Every repeated wound opens a door for divine light, if only you look beyond the surface." Think about your own life. Maybe you keep failing in business, and every failure makes you feel hopeless. But perhaps the real lesson is patience, reliance on Allah, or learning to purify your intentions before seeking wealth. Maybe you keep facing betrayal in friendships, and the lesson is to detach from worldly attachments and seek companionship in Allah first. Maybe you struggle with anger, and life keeps putting you in situations that test your temper until you finally master control. The repetition is always pointing to something deeper within you. One of the greatest mistakes we make is to fight against these lessons instead of embracing them. We complain, we resist, we drown in self-pity. But the moment you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is Allah teaching me?" everything changes. You begin to see the purpose behind the repetition. You realize that every recurring trial is actually a hidden form of guidance. Sufi wisdom tells us that Allah uses repetition because the human heart is stubborn. It takes time to unlearn habits, to soften pride, to let go of attachments. Just as water shapes stone slowly through constant flow, repeated experiences shape the heart until it finally becomes receptive. What you resist at first becomes your teacher in the end. And once you finally learn the lesson, you will notice something amazing. The pattern stops. The toxic relationships end. The same failures no longer return. The same weakness no longer rules you. It is as if life has released you, allowing you to step into a new stage of growth. That is the reward of patience and reflection, freedom from the cycle. But remember, even in repetition, Allah is close to you. The very fact that He allows you to face the same lesson again is a sign of His mercy. He is giving you chance after chance to grow, to purify, to return to Him. If He wanted to abandon you, He would leave you blind to your mistakes. But because He loves you, He keeps sending the lesson until your soul awakens. So the next time you find yourself stuck in a recurring struggle, do not despair. Pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what truth have I been avoiding? What lesson have I not yet embraced? What is Allah trying to show me through this? When you approach repetition with humility instead of frustration, the lesson reveals itself, and the cycle begins to break. The Sufis often say that life is like a spiral. You may feel like you are circling the same point again and again, but in reality, each time you are moving higher, closer to the center of truth. The repeated lessons are not signs of failure. They are signs of progress. With every cycle, you are being polished, purified, and prepared for the destiny written for you. Remember this: Allah does not repeat anything without reason. Every closed circle, every returning hardship, every familiar pain is part of the divine design. It is not life punishing you. It is Allah teaching you, and when you finally understand the wisdom, you will see that repetition was never about breaking you. It was about making you whole.
6.
Unexpected ease after hardship. Life often feels like a storm. You face struggles that break you down, financial burdens that feel endless, health problems that drain your energy, betrayals that crush your heart, or failures that leave you questioning your worth. In the middle of hardship, it seems like there is no end in sight. You pray, you cry, you wait, but the struggle keeps stretching on. Then suddenly, without warning, something shifts. The burden lifts, relief arrives, a new opportunity opens, and you feel as though light has broken through the darkness. That moment is not random. It is one of the clearest signs that Allah's plan is unfolding in your life. The Quran repeats a timeless promise. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Notice, Allah does not say after hardship comes ease, but with it. This means that in the very heart of your struggle, the seeds of relief are already planted. Hardship and ease are not separate. They are companions that arrive together, though sometimes we cannot see the ease until the time is right. Ibn Arabi and the Sufi masters explain that hardships are like fire. They burn away impurities from the soul, leaving it purified and shining. Every trial you face is not designed to break you, but to prepare you. Just as gold must be placed in fire to be refined, the heart must be tested by struggle so that it can hold the blessings that follow. When relief comes, it is not by chance. It is the natural result of what the trial shaped within you. Think of the Prophet Ayub, Job, peace be upon him, who endured years of illness, poverty, and isolation. People abandoned him, and his suffering was unbearable, yet he never lost faith. And when Allah finally restored his health and blessed him with wealth and family again, that ease was not random. It was the fruit of patience. the unveiling of mercy after purification. His story shows us that no hardship lasts forever, and that ease always follows, often in greater measure than the pain. The Sufis describe this transition beautifully. They say that hardship is like a night sky, dark, heavy, endless. But within that darkness, stars appear. Those stars are the signs of relief, small at first, but guiding you toward dawn. And just as no night can stop the sun from rising, no hardship can stop Allah's ease from arriving. It may not come when you expect it, but it will come in the exact moment Allah has written. Sometimes the ease you receive is external, a new opportunity, unexpected help, financial relief, or healing from illness. Other times it is internal, a sudden peace in your heart, clarity of mind, or the strength to accept what you once feared. Both are signs of Allah's mercy. Ibn Arabi teaches that true ease is not simply the removal of difficulty, but the opening of the heart to see Allah's within the difficulty. That shift of perspective is the greatest relief of all. Reflect on your own life. Think of a moment when you went through something unbearable. At the time you thought it would break you, but then, at some point, relief arrived. Maybe it was a job after months of searching. Maybe it was a friend who appeared when you felt alone. Maybe it was strength you never knew you had. In that moment, didn't you look back and realize that every second of the struggle was preparing you for that ease, that it had shaped you, softened you, humbled you, or made you stronger? That is the hidden design of Allah's plan. But here is something important. Ease after hardship is not just a gift, it is a test. How you respond to relief matters. Will you forget Allah the moment things become smooth again, or will you bow in gratitude, knowing that without Him you could never have endured? Many people remember Allah in hardship, but forget Him in ease. The true believer carries the lesson of the trial into times of blessing, never letting gratitude fade. The Sufis tell us that hardships and ease are like waves of the ocean. One rises, one falls, and together they keep the soul moving forward toward its ultimate destination. Allah, if the sea were always calm, you would never learn to sail. If it were always stormy, you would never rest. The balance of trial and relief is what carries you along your spiritual journey. Sometimes the ease that follows hardship is far greater than you imagined. You lose a job only to be led to a better career. You lose a friend only to discover truer companionship. You suffer a setback only to find yourself on a path that brings more growth and fulfillment than the one you had planned. This is Allah's wisdom at work. He removes what you think is good so He can replace it with what is truly best. And sometimes the ease is not about changing your circumstances, but about changing you. You emerge from the hardship with resilience, wisdom, and a deeper connection to Allah. That inner strength is the greatest form of ease, because it stays with you no matter what storms come in the future. The hardship may end, but the growth it gave you becomes permanent. So when ease arrives after hardship, do not see it as a lucky break. See it as proof of Allah's promise, proof that He was with you all along. Every tear you shed, every prayer you whispered, every night you endured, none of it was wasted. It was all shaping the blessing you are now receiving. And when you find yourself in the middle of hardship again, remember this moment. Remember that just as relief came before, it will come again. Allah's mercy does not run out. His promise does not fail. Hardship is only ever half the story. The other half is ease. The Sufi path teaches us that the greatest peace comes when you stop fearing hardship, because you know ease is always written alongside it. You begin to live with trust, with surrender, with patience. You stop asking, "When will this end?" and start saying, "I know relief is already on its way." That mindset transforms suffering into strength and waiting into worship. So if you are struggling now, hold on. Your night may feel endless, but the dawn is already rising. The ease you seek is not far. It is already written for you. And when it arrives, you will look back and realize that every moment of pain was carving a space in your heart for the blessing that was always meant to be yours. 7. A growing trust in Allah's timing. One of the clearest signs that Allah's plan is unfolding in your life is when you begin to feel a deep, unshakable trust in His timing. At first, this trust does not come easily. Human beings are impatient by nature. We want everything quickly. Our prayers answered now, our problems solved today, our desires fulfilled without delay. And when things do not happen on our schedule, we become restless, doubtful, even angry. But as your faith matures, something begins to shift inside you. Slowly, you stop rushing. You stop panicking. You begin to surrender to the flow of Allah's plan, confident that everything will come at the exact moment it is meant to. This transformation is one of the greatest blessings of the spiritual path. It is not about having a life free from problems. It is about having a heart free from anxiety. Ibn Arabi reminds us that the true traveler on the path to Allah is not the one who controls the road, but the one who trusts the road, even when the destination is unseen. That trust is the sign of a heart that has surrendered. Think about the times when impatience caused you pain. Maybe you rushed into a relationship out of fear of being alone, only to be left with heartbreak. Maybe you pushed yourself into a career that was not meant for you, only to end up exhausted and empty. Or maybe you demanded answers from Allah, asking why your prayers weren't being answered. Later, when the truth revealed itself, you realized that Allah had been saving you, preparing you, protecting you all along. You wanted something too soon, but Allah knew you were not ready or that it was not right. This is the wisdom of divine timing. What is meant for you will reach you, but only when you are prepared to receive it. Just as a fruit must ripen before it can be eaten, blessings must arrive at the perfect moment, not too early, not too late. If you pick the fruit too soon, it is sour. If you wait too long, it spoils. Similarly, Allah's timing is always precise. You may think you are waiting, but in reality, Allah is arranging circumstances, shaping your heart, and aligning everything perfectly. One of the greatest examples of trust in Allah's timing is found in the story of the prophet Joseph, peace be upon him. As a boy, he was betrayed by his brothers and thrown into a well. He was sold as a slave, imprisoned unjustly, and forgotten by people he had helped. Year after year, it seemed as if his life was only hardship and delay. But Yusuf never lost trust, and when the time was right, Allah elevated him to a position of power, reunited him with his family, and honored him in a way no one could have imagined. If Yusuf had received what he wanted immediately, he would never have grown into the man who could carry the responsibility Allah destined for him. His entire story is proof that divine timing is not about denial, it is about preparation. Sufism teaches that true peace is found when you stop fighting time and start flowing with it. You begin to understand that every delay has purpose, every waiting period has wisdom, and every unanswered prayer is shaping you for something greater. The heart that trusts in Allah's timing no longer says, "Why not now?" but instead whispers, "Whenever you will, my Lord, I will be ready." This trust does not mean passivity. It does not mean you stop working, stop striving, or stop making da'wah. It means that you do your part with sincerity, then leave the results to Allah. You stop trying to force outcomes, and you stop tying your happiness to immediate results. Instead, you place your happiness in the one who controls outcomes. That shift changes everything. Think of the calmness of a person who trusts Allah's timing. When others are anxious, they are at peace. When others complain, they remain grateful. When others lose hope, they continue to believe. This is not because their life is easier, but because their faith is stronger. They know that every moment unfolds according to the divine script, and nothing can reach them except what Allah has written. And when ease finally comes, when prayers are answered, and when dreams are fulfilled, they appreciate it even more because they understand that the waiting was not wasted. It was training, it was cleansing, it was Allah teaching them patience, humility, and surrender. The blessing feels sweeter precisely because of the waiting that came before it. Ibn Arabi says that the greatest miracle is not when your circumstances change, but when your heart changes, when you reach a state where you no longer resist Allah's decree, but welcome it, whether it brings joy or difficulty. That state of surrender is the true sign that everything in your life is falling into place. So if you find yourself slowly letting go of impatience, if you find yourself worrying less about the future, if you find yourself trusting Allah's wisdom more than your own plans, know that this is a sign. It means Allah is guiding your heart toward Him. It means His plan is unfolding exactly as it should. Remember, what is written for you will never pass you by, and what is not written for you will never reach you. The timing of Allah is always perfect, even when it feels slow to us. The growing trust you feel is not weakness. It is strength. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your life is not in your hands, but in the hands of the one who is all-wise, all-merciful, and all-knowing. When you reach this state, you will finally see that nothing was ever random. The delays, the struggles, the heartbreaks, the waiting, all of it was leading you here to a heart at peace, to a soul surrendered, to a life where everything truly falls into place, not by your timing, but by Allah's perfect design. So pause for a moment and look back at your life. The delays that once broke your heart, the struggles that seemed unbearable, the prayers you thought went unanswered. All of them carried you to this very moment. None of it was wasted. Every step, every tear, every silence was part of Allah's perfect design. Ibn Arabi reminds us that when we surrender to the flow of the divine, we stop asking, "Why me?" and start whispering, "Ya Allah, I trust you." And that is the greatest freedom, to know that you are exactly where you are meant to be, and that what is written for you will never miss you. When you live with that trust, fear disappears, impatience melts away, and your heart finally rests, because then you see the truth. Everything, without exception, is falling into place.